Hi, podcast listeners. This is your host, Jenna Pecor, and I'm so excited to bring you our episode for today. If you are a first-time listener or a listener who has been with me since day one and you love what I'm doing, I want to encourage you to support the podcast by giving a small donation. I love bringing you new faces and interviews, but it does take time and resources to do it. And any support you'd be willing to give goes towards website upkeep, travel, time, and costs, and would help me greatly to keep doing what I'm doing. Give your support by going to paypal.me/Faces of Grand Prairie. Hello out there, it's Jenna Pecor coming to you with another edition of the Faces of Grand Prairie podcast. Today on the show, I welcome Michelle Madden, an active community leader and former business owner who decided that she could make a more positive impact by becoming the president of the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. Michelle talks to me about her business background as a graduate of Texas A&M with a construction science degree, transitioning from being a realtor to working for the chamber, how she balances being a mom with a career in an often time-demanding industry, and what she's doing to encourage community interaction and networking within the community of business leaders at Grand Prairie. She shares ways the public can take advantage of the Chamber of Commerce, including events the public can attend they might not have known about otherwise. Without further ado, please help me welcome Michelle Madden. Hello, everybody. This is Jenna Pecor, and this is our first recording of the Faces of Grand Prairie podcast. And I have a very special guest with me today to do our inaugural episode. This is Michelle Madden. She is the president of the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Jenna. How are you?
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm so glad you said you do this.
My honor.
This is such an experiment, and I'm so fortunate that I have people that when I ask them to do things that they're like, not really sure how that's going to go, but sure, I'll do it for you.
Why not?
So I asked you to come because over the last couple of years, you and I have, really created a good friendship and a business relationship. You were a realtor before you were doing this. And so, but you've been a really cool president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I thought you've been doing some really neat stuff. So how long have you been president now?
Since January of 18, so a year and 4 months.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. So tell us just a little bit about your business background, kind of where you came from.
Well, I have a degree in construction science from Texas A&M University. Whoop!
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I started out in commercial construction, and then I've always had a love for, you probably heard this too, house plans.
Yeah.
Buildings, house plans, that kind of thing. So I got into residential real estate, and then I was a member of this chamber.
Yes.
And really loved it and really found a passion for trying to help more people. Again, another realtor thing.
Yeah.
What do we want to do? We want to help people.
That's right.
And so I really found that the chamber could do that on a grander scale. And it was really just an opportunity that happened. And so interviewed and beat out a number of other people. And I'm really proud to be in this position.
That's awesome. And you were part of the Branding Irons committee before that, right?
I was the chair of the Branding Irons. Those are our ambassadors to the chamber, and kind of took possession of that and made it my own and ran with it. So it was fun.
So what is the Branding Iron? What do they do?
They are the welcoming arm of the chamber. So if you have a new business and want to do a ribbon cutting, we call all our Branding Irons, who are business members of the chamber, to take time out of their schedule to come out to your ribbon cutting and make sure that, one, you feel welcome, two, that you know who they are and that they know who you are.
Right. And as a person that has I started a brick and mortar business, I actually had an opportunity to do a ribbon cutting, and the Branding Irons did show up to me in full force for support. So it was really, really cool as a business owner here that people actually cared that I was opening a new business, and I had everybody there to support me. So it was really amazing. Okay, so you went to Texas A&M for construction. Mm-hmm. Did you do anything with that degree?
Yeah, I did actually. My very first job was with a commercial contractor here in Dallas, Medco Construction.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I started out in the office and went out in the field and then did a variety of other things.
And then you went to residential real estate.
I did.
Which is totally different.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? That construction background is really helpful.
Oh my goodness. I was actually listening to a podcast with a woman who is a top producer in Dallas, and she only helps people buy new builds. And I learned a tremendous amount just from that podcast, because she was talking about, AC returns and, window panes and stuff I have been doing real estate for 5 years and I didn't even think about. So for her, having that construction knowledge has been huge for her business. So it's very interesting to me. So what made you just kind of
like you went from being a realtor, and then I know you had to stop doing that to be the president of the chamber. So how did that? Did you have any problems doing that?
Yeah, it was really unfortunate because, like when you start to build your business, it takes a number of years for people to, one, remember that you're a realtor.
Yeah.
Your best friend is like, well, I'm buying a house. What? Did you remember I'm a realtor? So I'd gotten past that hump where people would remember. And then, with real estate, there's some lulls. 1 month you're doing awesome, and the next month it's kind of slow. Of course, as soon as I take the job and I'm getting phone calls from friends. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I can't help you anymore. Yeah. But check out our directory of many of our realtor members.
That's true.
That's what happens. So
that is true. And how long did you do real estate?
I was licensed in 2010, but I'd kind of taken a break in between then too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and once you get past, you're right, exactly right. Like once you get past those first few years where it's like you don't even have to tell people you're an agent anymore. Now you're trying to switch to another. That'd be a kind of a transition.
It was a bummer, and I know that when the selection committee that I talked to me when I was hired said, "Hey, we're going to need you to not sell." At the moment, I was a little disappointed, and then I realized now there would not even be any time, so it's perfectly fine. Really.
Right? Yeah, because you do a lot of other stuff just outside of regular business hours.
Right.
So that kind of leads me to my next question. I know that a lot of people that maybe work 9-to-5 jobs and don't really have the opportunity to go out and do marketing, like some business owners might get a chance to do, might not be a part of a Chamber of Commerce before. So what does the Chamber of Commerce actually do?
Okay, so primarily, it was started so long ago, like in the 1700s in France.
Really?
Yeah, as
an
association in Marseille, France. But we pretty much are... we are a networking connection and a huge platform to market your business. And whether that's like literally a billboard, something in print, or word of mouth, and providing situations for you to meet up with people that otherwise you would never cross their path.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does your typical week go?
Oh, goodness. There's really not a typical... Well, we have a number of events that happen at our chamber.
I like that there's not a typical week.
Yeah.
That sounds like right up my alley because I like the difference. So you sound like you kind of like that too.
I do. We have some lunch meetings that happen in our office. We're always trying to bring new information so that people can walk out of our office and go apply what they've learned to their business and help it grow. So we'll have people walking in on a weekly basis saying, "Hey, I want to start a business and I don't know where to start." And
do you really get people that do that?
Oh, we do.
Wow.
We'll sometimes have people say, my grandma told me the very first thing I need to do is go to the Chamber of Commerce, and they're like, they don't even know what the Chamber of Commerce is, but grandma tells them to go. So we're there.
Kind of like the first social media.
Right,
like without there being social media,
right.
Like you show up, but you guys and y'all have a really nicely redone facility.
We do. I was the benefactor of that. I saw it only a few times before the reno, but it's beautiful, clean, bright, welcoming.
I have to admit, so I've lived in this city my entire life, and I've gone to the main street or the main library since I was a kid, and it wasn't until 3 years ago that I actually realized that was the Chamber of Commerce building.
Yeah.
So
I'm working on signage.
For those of you that don't know, so there's a Kroger right there, right off of 161 in Jefferson, and that's where the main library is, and the Veterans building is right there. And then right across the street, there's a library. It's by the Bank of America building, just a little bit south of there. There's a little building, and it's the Chamber of Commerce building.
Everyone thinks it used to be a bank, but it was built as a chamber.
I thought that too, because it's got like a drive-through, like circular thing. Yeah, it's because it is kind of just south of those drive-through things for the Bank of America. But you wouldn't even think to look at it, but it's very big inside. It's got a meeting room. You can actually host events in there, and you do. And then it's beautiful. It is beautiful. So I'm really curious. So like the people that show up and want to like own a business. So
It could be anything.
What do they think that you're like? What are they looking for?
They really just don't know. Honestly, they usually
crazy.
show up and go like, I want to start a roadside assistance business. I have some experience in that. Where do I get my license? I'm like, well, there's not really a business licensing grant, then we have a part on our homepage that says, starting your business, and tells you, go get your DBA, go get a bank account, go, P.O. box.
So did you have to go through any training?
Well, not specifically for that. That was a lot of like on the job and just personal interest kind of training. But prior to taking the position, there's a Texas and a national association conference that happens each year, and I paid my way to go along with the chamber staff in 2017.
Gotcha.
So I really had some good background, and man, I really got fired up then.
I can imagine. So you've seen a lot of people come through, and there's people that have been part of the chamber for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. There's people that I'm sure have just joined and are brand new business owners, and you have, like, for those of you that have never been to a Chamber of Commerce event, you have a wide variety of generations in there. You have people that have been business owners for years. You have people that are brand new to it. So what are some cool ways, since you've been there, that you've seen people like connect with each other and kind of use the chamber connection in an interesting way?
I don't know. Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know that they've used it in an interesting way, but they've used it in the way that it was intended, and that means that they pull out our directory, or they go on our website when they need services or goods, and they're actually really focusing and trying to use those chamber members.
I'll tell you one thing that you've done, and I have not been, like, there's a couple of chamber, like, after our chamber events I've been to, but one of the ones I really wanted to go to was one, she's making faces over here. One of the things I really wanted to do was, the Uptown Theater has a very, very cool lounge that I think probably a lot of people have never actually been inside of, but it has a stage and then a little bar and then tables. It's kind of like a bar lounge, kind of. It's got that kind of a vibe. But anyway, they were doing West Side Story. They were doing West Side Story, and so we got to go on a Thursday night, see West Side Story, and then before that we got to go to the Chambers After Hour, which they do. Do you do it every Thursday?
No, not every Thursday. Once a month.
Once a month. Mm-hmm. And so she set it up to where we could do karaoke, and I thought that was so neat. And I thought, what a cool way to see people in a different light than to see them singing karaoke.
Exactly.
And some business owners were up there like every other song. You could not get them down off that stage.
I know. Well, and two, part of the deal is, I look into and follow other chambers and see, I don't want to duplicate what they're doing, but they are doing things that are kind of fun and bring out different demographics of their membership.
Yes.
So we've got golf. So we've got the golfers, and we've got the people who are going to do the lunch and the people who are going to do the breakfast. But we need to make sure that we're including everybody.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of really cool things that are here in the city. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I never miss is when they do it at the Ripley's Believe It or Not.
All right.
Because they recently redid that. Well, not recently. I guess it's been a few years now, where they added the 4D Theater, and there's a couple other things that they put in there. And kids are invited. So they have drinks, they have dinner, and then you get complete access to the entire building the entire time you're here. And so the first time that I got invited, I was like, kids, this is what we're doing on a Thursday night. We're going to go and, take advantage of the free. And I'm glad that I, as a business owner in the community, got to go do that, because then I told other people, you've got to go try this. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. And I learned that they did Girl Scout, lock-ins and all kinds of fun stuff there. So that's one thing. Like, it's not just at a restaurant or a bar every time.
Right. Right. And we give the opportunity. Those business after hours are hosted by our members, so it gives them a chance to put their business on the spotlight and let the group of us who might not always be patrons of their business come and find out.
Right, exactly. And because if you don't have kids, when would you ever have gone to the Ripley's, believe it or not? So, would you have ever chosen to do that on a Saturday? Probably not. But if you have it on a Thursday, you at least get to go tell other people. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool. So, one of the questions that I sent to you that I thought was kind of interesting, because we're going to have a lot of listeners. Hopefully everybody loves this podcast and they want to listen to it.
I'm certain of it.
But it's not just for business owners, it's for people in the community as well. So how does just a regular citizen that really doesn't even think about networking a business or starting a business, how do they benefit from the Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, well, so my goal when I came in was to, and I mentioned the directory before,
which is online.
It is online, and we do produce a paper version still, and because there are a lot of people that still love to have that reference book on their desk.
Yes.
So my goal has been to, one, fill the gaps that we have in our directory of goods and services, and then make our directory, whether online or in paper, the reference for all the citizens of Grand Prairie, so that they know, shop local, shop these people that are known and that are familiar and that are investing in the community already. Shop those people, and so they can benefit from that, because easier and you're more trusting of groups or businesses that are local and that other people know.
Yes.
So really that's kind of their benefit.
My light is going off as I'm sitting here listening to you talk, and I think that we should start a hashtag like Chamber Faces or something, where if you are at a local business that's local, take a picture and hashtag yourself on a Facebook page, because I would love to see how many people go to local businesses that I would never know. So I think I'm going to put that on the website. That'd be really cool,
yeah,
especially for the businesses that are Chamber of Commerce members, to see how they can like benefit from and who in the community is actually visiting their business, you know?
Yeah, and we implemented, and we're working on getting it rolling out, some stickers that say proud member of Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce that we're sending to all of our members. Hopefully they'll put on their vehicles or their storefront so that citizens will know if they don't see the plaque in the business, maybe they'll see it on the front door as they walk in, and then they can know they're patronizing a chamber.
I think we should do that. And we're also, I didn't even mention that we're recording this podcast at the Epic. So this is actually a city building. This is a rec center for the city. Are they members of the chamber? How does the city fit in? I didn't know that.
I hate to say, gosh, the city are members of the chamber. So I guess ultimately they are
Everything
members.
would be
And they do participate in a lot of our events and donate things. So
just so that y'all know, because I needed to shout out, and by the way, we've got Dakota sitting over there watching us, and he's waving at us right now. He's been wonderful to help us since this is both of our first times. But anyway, I was so astonished when I walked in here to see this recording studio. If y'all have not been inside the Epic, y'all have got to come in and check it out. This building itself is just amazing. But this recording studio that just opened to the public, I mean, it was so cheap to reserve the space, and there's drums in here. You can come in here and record yourself singing. You can record yourself playing an instrument, and we're in here just doing a podcast, and we have professional grade equipment with a professional sound mixer, who, by the way, told us that can I say that? So he does all the AV stuff over at the Texas Live, which I love. I know that's not a Grand Prairie, place, but I do love Texas Live, and I know that the mayor and of both Arlington and Grand Prairie work together to help us, with our entertainment venues. But anyway, so just being able to use a facility like this in Grand Prairie is amazing. But I would love to hear anybody that's been visiting like some of the Grand Prairie businesses or people that have provided you a service, because I know not all these businesses are brick and mortar.
Right.
So you do have a lot of service providers like real estate agents.
Right.
So if you're using somebody, I would love to see you take a picture and hashtag it. But so a couple of personal questions, because I'm very interested. You were a business owner, really, as a realtor. That's what you are, as a business owner, before you became the president. So like, what are some of the business owner lessons that you learned while you were running your business?
Oh my gosh. Really keep a tight handle on your finances, especially in the world of real estate, but it could apply to anybody. You start picking stuff up, and between that and making sure you track your miles, if you're putting miles on your car, you got to do all those things. You have to be really responsible about that. Making wise decisions on your marketing choices too.
Oh yeah.
I made a big investment, and we currently now are doing something great at the chamber that I wish I'd had the opportunity of back then. I paid for time on a movie screen at one of our major movie theaters down. Yeah,
really?
I had a commercial that ran for a year on the screen, and it was quite an investment, but I thought, you know what, go big or go home.
Right.
But now at the chamber, we are also offering a slot on a digital billboard for a fraction of the cost that I spent on that movie theater thing.
Right.
So we're bringing opportunity to members who would not be able to get on a billboard otherwise.
Right.
So
right.
Those are the things. I mean, really managing your money, probably managing my time a little bit better. But it's hard in the world of real estate, just in general. You're in your car a lot, and there's not a lot you can do.
But you were very involved, even as a business owner. Like, you were involved in you were involved in Rotary, you were involved in all that stuff. So, like, that has helped you tremendously, I would imagine, doing what you do now.
Yeah, and really, honestly, maybe not so much from building my business, but part of my business is being able to communicate. And I think that giving yourself exposure and as many opportunities as you can to publicly speak, whether it's really with 3 people or 30 people.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It makes it so much better and makes situations even like this right here with you so much easier. And I consider public speaking now, not that I'm great at it, but I consider it more of a challenge and not a fear.
Because this is daunting. if you've never done an interview before, because the first one that I ever did on a podcast was over the phone, but I was still very nervous because I was like, what is she going to ask me? Am I going to say all the time, And so you're absolutely right. Being able to communicate is essential, especially if you're a business owner. I don't care what kind of business owner you are.
Right.
It's very, very important. Right. Especially when you get asked last minute to come do an interview. And you're like, sure, I could do that, no problem. But I was a part of Toastmasters for a long time.
Me too.
We don't even have one of those in Grand Prairie.
We do.
We do?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
We do. But we've got a club. They came and joined the chamber. And honest to goodness, my hope was that they could start meeting at the chamber.
Yeah.
But we have, as a membership benefit to our members, you can use our conference room once a month for free, and it's beautiful, and then after once a month, it's $50. Well, we have so many people that take advantage of that. I couldn't find a single date that they meet on to plug them in.
Oh, my goodness.
Working on that, but yeah.
That Toastmasters, for those of you that don't know, is basically a public speaking club. Mm-hmm. That's all it's for. And you go in and you get to talk. So it's the same people all the time generally, unless you have new members, but you get on the spot interviews. So you have to be able to answer a question for 2 minutes on the spot that you don't know. You prepare speeches. It's a tremendous, for those of you that are business owners and you haven't done something like that, it is very, very important to be able to talk to people, and it makes you so much more comfortable in front of people.
Absolutely. And you hear yourself differently, and then you start to hear everyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
As a Toastmaster, they have a thing called an counter. And so any crutch words that you use, whether it's or and so, if you continue to use those, there's someone in your club that's clicking every time just to bring it to your attention. And now I am afflicted with, I watch the TV news and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a blessing, but it's, yeah.
It makes me think there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where I think Robin was on the screen and it's something she said, she said, and every time they would just keep track of like how many times she said that. But you're absolutely right. It makes you so aware of that kind of stuff.
My name is Gabrielle Sandoval, and I am a senior at Grand Prairie Fine Arts Academy High School. Today I'm bringing the nonprofit spotlight to the Grand Prairie YMCA. The Grand Prairie Family YMCA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to strengthening the foundation of community. With a commitment to nurturing youth development, energizing healthy living, and inspiring social responsibility, the Grand Prairie Family YMCA ensures every individual has access to the essential needs to learn, grow, and thrive. The GPYMCA isn't just a place to go work out. It does much more than that for the community. They are an anchor in the community and work closely with people from Grand Prairie to identify the needs of the community and meet them. For information on a membership for you and your family, or to become a donor, please visit them at the web at ymcadallas.org. or find them directly on Facebook by searching the Grand Prairie YMCA.
Something else that I find very interesting in our community is we have a lot of women business owners, and that's near and dear to my heart, obviously. You were a woman business owner. Now you're the president of the chamber. Have there been any other women presidents?
Of the chamber?
Yeah.
Well, my predecessor was.
Who's your predecessor?
Lynn McGinley.
Lynn McGinley.
And then prior to her was Radonna Hessel.
Well, see,
so, yeah.
And I haven't been involved in the chamber before that, so.
Yeah.
And we got, who has been the.
And our chairman of the board right now is Alex Cadena.
Okay.
But yeah, over the years we have had women in that role too. So that's fantastic. So
that's awesome.
I really feel like there's not. Actually, the whole chamber industry, I feel like, is more female dominated. I don't know if that's because we just work really, really hard.
Because we like to be around each other and be social and go do fun things.
Build business.
Do what?
And build business.
And build business. That's exactly right. I lived in Plano for just a couple of years in between. So yes, I've lived in Grand Prairie my whole life, except for a couple of years in Plano. But I was actually part of that chamber too, and it's. They did a lot of, not that it's wrong, it's just I think every city has its own vibe, has its own culture,
right.
And they did a lot of, going to upscale new places. Because up in Plano, there was so much new construction of new restaurants at the time that we did a lot of that. And now that I'm thinking about it, you're actually right, there's a lot more women than there were men. So have you found any challenging aspects to being a woman in business?
honestly, I did more when I was in construction. Yeah. And so that kind of sets the tone for me just in general. I have to make sure to check myself when I'm in a situation to make sure that I don't have my I can do it 2 pants on, everyone knows if you you can do it too, Michelle. It's all right. But no, actually, and especially in the city of Grand Prairie, I mean, we have people come in from other chambers and they join our chamber too, because people do that. They'll join more than one and they'll go, this is the most friendly, welcoming chamber I've ever been a part of.
That is so cool.
It is. It is. And even though it is a warm and fuzzy, it gets you somewhere too, because I mean, we can all say that and then like nothing happens. Right. But here with our chamber, our members try to promote the businesses of their chamber members like wholeheartedly. Right. So in general though, in the city of Grand Prairie, being a woman in business has never been an issue.
Yeah, and being a realtor, there's a lot of women in real estate as well. And so, but you're right, in construction, I was actually an assistant too. We did I worked for a company that did they called it trafficking. It's not that kind of bad trafficking. It's like trafficking of equipment. So it was in the trucking industry, and it was any way that you could traffic things. So it was trucks, boats, like any of that stuff. Okay. So logistics, yeah. And but that's what it was called in our department. And so the woman that ran that department was literally the only woman that I knew that was in any of the other industries. And so she was dealing with truck drivers all day. She was dealing with people that were dealing with truck drivers all day. So I think that when you say, I could do it too, Michelle, that's exactly the attitude she had as well. And it's hard to kind of get over that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had experiences. Like I remember when I was young at the construction company, we used to do a project. It was a community project. I had some older plumber there, an older electrician. They were all established guys, and I was on this committee with them. And some part of the conversation came up, and the man who was significantly older than me said something like, "Yeah, sugar, we were talking about da 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 da." And I really, being young and really kind of being protective of myself, I asked him to please not call me sugar again. Yeah. And they all looked at me like couldn't believe I said it. But anyway, I've grown up.
That's a Southern thing, right?
It is.
You kind of have to, it's hard. That's something that I've had to overcome myself.
Well, in the business setting, I don't know.
Definitely.
I don't think I really ever wanted anybody to call me sugar.
Absolutely not. And you're like, I just got a degree, man. Like, I'm educated. Like, I don't need you to call me sugar. Yeah. That's so funny. So, being a woman, that also means you're a mom. Mm-hmm. And I know you've got, how many kids do you have?
Well, 3. I'll say 3.
So you've got a son that's active in GPSD right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a student.
Senior.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a senior.
He's a senior.
How are you doing?
Okay. That's the story.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
You don't have very much longer, but we won't even go into that.
No.
My question is, being a woman that's a business owner and being a mom, did you find it difficult to balance all that? And even still, to this day, do you find it difficult?
I find it really, really difficult because, especially being a woman and that whole I can do it too. And this industry is known for long hours and really trying to provide services over the top. So yeah, just a woman in business and with children. Yeah, it's a really hard balance, and especially as they get older, and I don't know if you've ever experienced, if you've gotten to this point where your kids don't need you as much, or they don't make it known that they need you as much. And I think the mistake that I know I have fallen into, and it's hard to get out of once you do it, is you think, oh, well, they really look okay. I think I've got some spare time. And so then you're away doing work things because you're thinking, honest to goodness, they really couldn't care less if I was there because they're busy doing their thing.
Right.
And things come up eventually, good and bad, that where you find out that you really should be there, and they really do need you more.
Yep.
They actually need you just as much, I think, when they're older.
I completely agree with that, and you're absolutely right. And now they have so many distractions that if they're not paying attention to what you're doing, they could be distracted, you're distracted, and then you spend the entire evening in the same room with each other, having never communicated with each other. And so, I mean, I've got my daughter here today. She has sinus stuff. She had to stay home, and she gets to watch mom work, which I think is super cool. I hope she thinks it's cool. She's been quiet over there in the area, but hopefully there won't come a time when she's like, remember that one time, Mom, you made me come and watch you work. You never had time for me. Like,
I know, right?
I know. I'm just so worried about that. But so I would imagine that as the president, you do get a lot of demands on your time in the evening, because you do a lot of evening things.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to make sure to do when I took this position was, and I know there were extenuating circumstances with my predecessor, but I wanted to make sure that everyone, if I had a business after hours, and like we just had Salcedo Group, they're a member of ours, they moved to a new building. I wanted to make sure that even though I'm just plain old me, to other people I'm the president of the chamber, and
That's right.
I want to make sure that I show them that their event and that they are important to me as well. And so I've been trying to show up a little bit more than maybe historically, and I do still do all the branding iron stuff too, as much as I can, because I feel like being in touch with the members is super important.
Yeah.
So I already forgot your question, but anyway.
No, I was saying that you get a lot of demands on your time. Yeah. And where's your son going to school?
Well, I think as of tomorrow or yesterday, UT.
Okay, so he's going to be a little bit away. Mm-hmm. So at least you have a lot of stuff to fill your time when he's gone. You'll be social. You'll be social.
I still have my daughter. And
how old is she?
She's 14.
Okay, so you still have a little bit. Yeah. You're not going into empty nest syndrome just right yet. Yeah, nope. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, what is a cool story that you've seen, either as a president or before as the Branding Irons, like a cool success story of like a business in Grand Prairie that you've seen just explode, or something cool has happened?
I know you wanted me to give you a good example of that.
One thing that I could think of is Zavala's Barbecue, who I would really like to talk to. I drove past Main Street. I don't even know if they're chamber members, but like I drove by Main Street and they had their sign up and it said open from 11 a.m. to sold out. Mm-hmm. And I thought, since the moment that they started selling barbecue here, it's been crazy. And I thought, what a tremendous marketing sign that is.
I know.
It just gives the people an already, like, we are going to be sold out today because we are that busy.
Right.
Like when I drove past, I was like, oh, I better stop and get some before they're gone.
Maybe we all need to institute that.
Exactly.
We're here till we're sold out.
Exactly.
Come and get it.
Have you seen anybody start brand new?
Yeah, actually I have, and we have, as members we have, I can't say that I have a lot of longevity yet at the chamber to see their long term, but I know that we had a business exchange breakfast one day. One of our members was there who does printing and badges and things like that. Mm-hmm. And after it was all said and done, one of our local fantastic chamber members, who is always making connections within the group, sent multiple members who didn't know that this badge signage person was there, and before the event was done, he had multiple orders. It was definitely worth his while, and who knows how many times that's happening that I don't even see.
Right. That's very true.
I'm going to need some pens. I'm going to need, office space. Oh, let me tell you who.
Right. That's and word of mouth is such a big deal too. And in the social media world that we live in, we think, social media is the it thing. Mm-hmm. But really, word of mouth, that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, is because having the community connections is very, very important.
Oh, right.
In a lot of different ways, not just business, but, having that word of mouth is very good.
Right. Yeah. And there's nothing more valuable, I don't think personally, than you telling someone else about me.
Right.
I can tell you all day long and you're going to be like, yeah, okay, sure, you're great. But when you have somebody else tell you how fantastic it is and they're not being paid, it's the truth, then you tend to believe it more.
Well, that's actually how I came to know you. Oh. You probably don't even know that.
No.
Someone actually said, oh, you've got to meet this really cool real estate agent. And you had, I knew of you, but then you came to a Rotary meeting with me, and then I saw one of your signs and I was like, this girl must be a mover and a shaker, because you'd come already with an introduction. So you're absolutely right. Like it makes you, someone must, when you hear that someone's done a good job, they're like, who is this person? I need to know who they are. Mm-hmm. This is cool. Yeah. So what is something that that people can take advantage of with the chamber? Like, what are some events that they have going on, or that you guys have going on that they can kind of take advantage of?
Okay. Well, and you can come to a number of our free events for a couple of times before we ask you to join, just because that's
good. Free.
Yeah.
A couple of times. Yeah. So that's good.
So our business exchange breakfast, those happen at 7:45 in the morning at the chamber most of the time. We usually have some kind of light breakfast and a speaker. We also do networking around the room. So that's something they can take advantage of. Our business.
And that's every Friday?
No, that is not every Friday.
Okay.
That is once a month.
Okay.
I think it's on the second Friday. Don't hold me to it because it's been a whirlwind.
I'm sure it'll be on the website.
Yeah, it's on. It is.
Okay.
It is.
Good.
We also do business after hours. Same thing. Those are free, and those are usually catered, or they're snacks by whoever's hosting it. Another fantastic opportunity for networking and just kind of hanging out after work.
I was going to ask you about that. If it's okay for people to come to those events for free for a couple of times, just to kind of check it out.
Yeah.
Y'all, they're like what we were talking about earlier with Ripley's and stuff. Those are really cool events.
They are. They are. Yeah, and they are welcome to do that. I'm trying to think what else is free. I mean, we have a number of events. Our multicultural networking that happens at the office, that you can come to those for free. And again, some great information. We just had one about immigration law.
Yes,
it was fantastic.
Yes, you guys do have a lot of multicultural events, just speakers that will come and talk. Yeah,
we do. And I just want to set the record straight too, that the name of it, multicultural, evolved from something else, and we're trying to make sure that everyone knows that these are events that are in Spanish. I mean, in English. Oh my gosh, just exactly the opposite of what I meant to say. Strike that. No, they're in English. And so unless the event is on a calendar in Spanish, then everything's in English, whether it's called multicultural or whatever you want to call it. In English, unless it's otherwise printed in Spanish.
But I think that it's very good that as a chamber, you understand that we do live in a very diverse city. And it's very important that we all can acknowledge and understand a little bit more about what other people are going through in the city, what business owners that are, either minority business owners or, people like that, some of the things that they're going to teach us, because education is very important.
Oh, right.
Especially when you're a business owner, to learn about all kinds of different things.
Right. And that's another one of the great things I think about our chamber is there's not a Hispanic Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. We're all together.
Right.
We're all in one, and that's super important. And I have the most fantastic minority outreach person, Maria Senti. She makes connections and introductions between people, and is really well known in the whole Dallas area. So I'm so fortunate to have her. She brings in speakers that we would never know except for through her connections.
Right.
And when we bring in those speakers with that information, we're just opening the world up a little bit more for all of our members.
That actually brings up a good point, because when you drive through Grand Prairie, you can so see that there's a lot of I'm sure a lot of Spanish-speaking business owners. So do y'all reach out to them? Like, is that what she does?
She, that's part of what she does.
Okay.
But yeah, she's now the primary, actually the only Spanish speaker at our office. But she doesn't limit herself only when it's minority outreach. It's also, our African American. We have some specific businesses to that, and we're working on more of the Asian community too. We just want to make sure
we do have a large Asian community here in Grand Prairie.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that not only are we providing goods and services across the board for everybody's need, business and personal, but we're also making sure that no one is left out.
Right.
That all the business opportunities are available to every single person. Doesn't matter what language you speak. We want you with us, and we will help you connect. And sometimes there are some cultural differences where some cultures are not so willing to. It's not in their nature to come out and ask for help from other groups, and so we have to try to get over those barriers.
Right. And one thing that I thought was really cool is for those of you that have never driven past Great Southwestern 303 and been to Asian Times Square, that place is awesome. Like, if you've never been inside that building, I would highly suggest just walking through there, because it's beautiful.
Cultural experience too.
It's absolutely a cultural experience, and they've got the most amazing ballroom. And there's a lot of events that take place there, either nonprofit events or a variety of networking events. But one year I went to the Chinese New Year. Right. I'd never been.
No, yeah.
I don't know when I would have had an opportunity to go. And I'm not going to be going overseas to go experience that. So I got to take the kids and we got to watch that, and we got to see like authentic dancers, and we got to see what they do. And it was such a cool experience. And I love that Grand Prairie incorporates all that, and just because even going there to have a networking event just to be able to be around it is really cool.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, places like that, and there's event centers that are like the High-Low Ballroom. That is actually a woman. She is Hispanic. She owns several businesses in the city, and I actually got a chance to go into one of her restaurants and eat there. And she said she bought the High-Low Ballroom, and I said, I didn't realize that. That's so neat, you know, because that's historical significance, and she's bought it. And so there's all these really cool places that you know are minority owned, and I think that that's fantastic that we can incorporate everybody. And I would love to hear y'all's ideas, for those that are listening, for any ways that y'all have, you know, to kind of expand that and show how we can, you know, bring everybody into that particular, you know, networking with each other would be fantastic. Any ideas? But I think Grand Prairie does a great job of that. Really, I do
too. I mean, and don't forget Traders Village. They are hosting events of all nationalities out there, like all the time. I mean, whether it's a powwow or Cinco de Mayo or whatever.
You're reminding me that Grand Prairie is so big. I always forget that we have all these things around. Traders Village is huge.
It is, and they're fantastic members of the chamber.
They really are. So we only have a couple minutes left. So I'm curious, is there any other events that you want to promote or tell us that are coming up?
Next Friday, May the 10th, we have our annual golf classic, and we're still looking for teams. So, and this is another opportunity. We provide our members to put their collateral, like their marketing stuff, into the goodie bag. Again, reaching another group of people that they may never have ever crossed paths with. Yeah. That really is a benefit. So that's coming up.
Does it benefit anybody, or does it benefit the chamber?
It benefits the chamber. Okay. But the marketing part would
gotcha.
Would be beneficial.
And anybody
to
can
them.
participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Any citizen. And then
and where will that be?
That will be out at Tangle Ridge Golf Course.
Tangle Ridge. Yeah. We love Tangle Ridge.
Yeah, we do. And it's so beautiful. In fact, our new website, as of last year, the background image is a picture of Tangle Ridge.
Well, of course,
it's just beautiful.
It was actually in the Life is Great magazine. They have a huge full page Tangle Ridge.
It's just beautiful.
I know, it is.
So we always have some we have great things. Right now we're about to finish up our Leadership Grand Prairie course, and that graduation is going to be on Wednesday, May 15th at our chamber lunch. What is the Leadership Grand Prairie? It's a 9-month course that's held by the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. You pay, and you get to see behind the scenes of pretty much anything and everything, whether it's transportation, tourism, health and wellness in the city
services.
For
students or just for citizens?
We had 5 DeBisky students in our class this year. They had to apply.
Those kids are amazing.
And then we had citizens, really chamber members that were participants. So we had about 27 students all together. We went to Austin at one point on a bus.
Oh my gosh.
Saw all our local legislators. They came out. We have some great connections. And so we had 20 minutes with all these people, and they talked to us, and we had a chance to ask questions one-on-one to the people that represent our area. So Leadership Grand Prairie happens every other year. Okay. And it's a minimal investment, especially compared to other chambers. Yes. So we love it, and we study Maxwell's 21 laws of irrefutable laws of leadership.
Yes, there you go. That sounds amazing. I'm going to have to look into that next time.
And so our mayor's going to be speaking on the 15th at that graduation.
Of course he is. People. Yeah, he is always just up for speaking anywhere, isn't he?
He is. And what a leader he is to be closing out Leadership Grand Prairie.
I'm telling you. So what is one life lesson that you live by every day?
Oh, one life lesson. I would say, and it can sound kind of corny, but really...
Corny is good. We like corny.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
It really, really is true.
It really, really is.
And you have to really say it the right way. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. I was actually talking to a client of mine yesterday. I was at a listing appointment, and we were talking about how if everybody acted as though they were interviewing for a job, with every interaction they come through, which is the same principle, right? But if you could treat other people the way that you would in a job interview, you never know how far that could get you in life.
Oh, right.
And if you treat other people the way that you'd want to be treated, you never know in 5 years later that one person that you were like, you know what, you were so kind. I've been looking for somebody to run this business for me. You think maybe you want to do that?
Right?
I know that sounds silly, but it happens all the time.
It sure does.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for your time today.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
It was a good first experience.
I had a lot of fun.
So for those of you that are interested in the chamber, why don't you tell us how they can find you?
Yeah, you can check out our website, grandprairiechamber.org. You can call us at 972-264-1558, or you can reach any of our staff. That's Michelle, Haley, Maria, or Greg at our first names at grandprairiechamber.org.
And you guys, the Branding Irons has a Facebook page too, correct?
No.
Okay.
We just post a whole bunch.
Okay, because I just saw one just the other day of the Olive Garden that just opened up. So if people want to like you on Facebook,
yes,
to see maybe where some of the new businesses are coming in.
Absolutely, like our Facebook page. We try to post out on LinkedIn every now and then. We have a meetup that we're trying to get out on too, so that we can get people from outside of the area.
Yeah.
All of the Instagram, Twitter, we try to do it all.
Yeah.
We don't always hit them all, but Facebook is the
definitely. If you are interested in being a part of or seeing like where the new places are coming in, those Branding Iron pictures are very, very informative. Because I'll go, oh, I didn't even realize I was opening this week.
And check our calendar, because you'll see, you can go and meet us out there.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for asking me. I had a great time.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, guys.